Okay. So welcome everybody to our Boundaries Masterclass. I'm so excited to be here with all of you, and we are going to, look into why self-love is important and the foundations for you to decide and assess and communicate what and how you want to live and to be treated in your life. So just type in the comments where you're from, as people are joining in. Say hi. We're a little community here, so it's all kind of cool. And just really excited to be here. So before we start, I want to do an acknowledgement to the place where I work and stay, which spans the lands of the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nations. I acknowledge them as the traditional owners and protectors of this place. I also pay my deepest respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. So that's just very important for me to do that. Christine, you're in Hampton. And yes, awesome in Victoria. Beautiful. Thank you, Christine. So can anyone hear me all good? I'm going to start sharing my screen because I've got a presentation that I've got now. All good. Can you see this? And yeah. So so feel free to put stuff in the chat. I won't see it for the moment, but I will go back to it when we go. Okay, so all right. So big breath. So firstly, I encourage you, if you have, get a pen and paper before we begin. If you don't have any, that's okay. You can always watch the replay later. But there'll be a few exercises for you that will be important for you to journal and jot down. So the act of writing has been shown to activate, important processing centers in your brain. So hence journaling is an incredibly, incredibly powerful tool. So let's go down to here. All right. So next slide. Oop, what's happening? I haven't used Zoom for a while, so just excuse me. So quick intro. Yes. All right. So quick intro to me. My name is Vanessa Mollard, and I was a scientist for 25 years and still am. And I actually burnt out during my career. And it wasn't because the job was demanding, but there were other facets to why I burnt out. And we will discuss that. And one of them is the lack of boundaries. And I sought to sort of heal myself because I knew if I got myself in this position, how am I supposed to get out of this? And after looking at different modalities and doing some incredible personal development work with some incredible teachers, I started to heal myself. I had immense gut, skin, joint issues, and some of you on this call would probably not recognize me if you see me then, actually, because I'm a crazy surfer and wing foiler and all kinds of crazy stuff on the water. But then I healed myself because I learned how to regulate my nervous system really effectively and really learn how to rewire my brain, and that really helped me propel my healing journey. And so now I share what I know with you, and one of the things that I really love is breathwork, which we'll do a bit today. So we're going to the definition of boundaries. Why is it important? I'm sure all of you have really different views on what boundaries are and how they are affecting you at the moment. And we'll do some breath work to ground us in the middle of that. And then we'll talk about what is self-love. Why is self-love and boundaries so important? And what's next, basically. So let's do that. So the disclaimer is that this masterclass is about providing insight and some tools into why self-love is important and boundaries. And so and what is happening to you at the moment. Now, this is a vast topic, and I will never underplay trauma that is in a lot of people's lives at the moment. So, and if you're in that position, you will require a specialized doctor or psychologist or therapist. So just that sort of disclaimer. And so we are covering here what you need to care for yourself right now, and so things to think about and be able to help you discern what you truly need and want, and to decide what sort of additional help you need afterwards. Okay, so let's go down to what are boundaries. So, okay, I'll get there one day. There we go. What are boundaries? Okay, so what are boundaries? So here are some cool stuff that has been brought up by some authors and different people. Okay, so the boundaries are the distance I can love you and me simultaneously. This is by Prentice Hemphill. Another definition about boundaries is what's okay and what's not okay. And the other definition of boundaries is you teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you stop, and what you reinforce. This is Tony Gaskins. So, to me, they are the limits and the rules that we set around how we can engage and relate with others. But I want you to focus on this one word, with ourselves. Because boundaries for me is a external manifestation of what's happening internally. Now, it's not all the time, and I'm not, again, as I said, I had my disclaimer earlier on regarding this. If you have trauma and stuff in your life, and someone is abusing you, that is a completely, it's kind of out of the scope of this masterclass. But and again, that how we relate to ourselves, often determines how people then relate to you. Okay, so this is really important. This is where the crossover between boundaries and self-love is, and why that's so important. So let's go to the next one. Okay, so why are boundaries important? So they create a safe space so that we all can grow and you can discover our authenticity, truth, and independence. So boundaries are a way on which we can be ourselves and truly ourselves, because often we're so entangled, we're so enmeshed with different people, because, and we'll discuss that later and why. So we're just sort of talking about why they are so important, and it's crucial for feeling self-worth and establishing a foundation of safety and trust. So it's like having your sort of neighbors between you, and the fences between your neighbors. You still can have a chat with your neighbors, you still can do stuff with your neighbors, but you're completely independent and separate, and enjoying that safety within your own home. So and then it helps also our nervous system to be balanced. So we're going to that why, because then we can live healthy and fulfilling lives. So we're not in an elevated fight state, and we can then sort of instead of being so worried about things all the time, we will end up having fulfilling lives and helping our community through our gifts. And those gifts can only be nurtured through having good boundaries. Boundaries also allow us to have meaningful connection with ourselves, empathy and compassion, which is really, really necessary in our society at the moment. And that's causing a lot of problems that we're seeing at the moment. Now, boundaries also is a form of love. And some people don't see that, but in terms of how you express yourself to people and how you set those boundaries around yourself and around how you treat yourself, it is a form of love and showing love to someone else. So also communicating with them exactly what you need and how you need it, and also giving them that benefit of the doubt that is what they want the best for you. Okay, so that's really what I love about boundaries. So if you guys want to have anything to comment on that, please check in the comments. I'm playing around with all the pictures because I'm trying to figure out what's happening. Okay, so we have types of boundaries, right? And so we have emotional, physical, and sexual, time, money, and resources, and mental boundaries. So around our thoughts, our beliefs, and how we deal with society. So having listed all of that, I'm not going to go into the detail because we don't have time for them, but you get the gist of what they are. So what boundaries in this list are being crossed for you at the moment? And what pain is it causing in your life? And how do you know they've been crossed? So what emotions are coming up for you? So I'm just going to give you a minute or so to think about that. So what boundaries are being crossed, and what pain is it causing in your life? What emotions it's having, what effects is it having in your body? And another thing is, think about, where does it sit in your body? Think about, when someone crosses your boundary, what do you feel? And then where does it sit? Does it sit in your heart? You go, or so it sits in your gut and your gut clenches, or you just, for me, sometimes my head, I just go lightheaded. So I'm going to stop sharing now, and we're going to see what's in the messaging. So give you a few minutes, just think about that. Yeah, absolutely. I'll share these notes with you, Olivia. Definitely. I'll share, you'll get the recording, which is great. And also, I'm trying, you see me doing in and out because this Zoom's changed all his settings for like AI and all kinds of things. And I'm like, but yeah, so you'll definitely get the recordings, and with that, yeah, you'll have what it is. So as I said, you can just go back now and later and just think about what I've just said. And this is a process that you go through each and every time, because this isn't, you don't fix it once. It's not a fixing thing, it's more of a everyday thing. Anyway, so all good. Yeah, let's keep going. So I'll see how the recording turns out. Ha ha ha. Anyway. Surrender and all good. Okay. Right. So let's go on to the next one. So these are some journal prompts. Again, you will have the recording of this. So this is some time for you to sit down and just really think about, what do you really want in your life at the moment? Now, has anyone asked you, what do you really want? When I was a kid, um it was my parents never asked me what I wanted. They always told me what I wanted. I was in an Asian culture, and so there's like, you're so clever. So because you're so clever, this, I'm using my Asian voice here. You're so clever, so you have to be doctor or lawyer, right? And I'm like, but I don't want to be a doctor or lawyer. No, 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 you have to be, because I want you to be a doctor and lawyer so you can help me when I need it. And yeah, so different communities, different societies have different expectations. So they never asked you. Now, they wanted the best for you. Don't get me wrong. They always do. They always do their best. And what they're doing to you is foisting on their own expectations. And that's another plethora of things to do, to look about. Anyway, coming back to the point, what do you really want in your life? What do you want? More importantly, how do you want to feel in your everyday life? Do you want to feel free? Do you want to feel at peace? Make it a positive emotion. Do you just want to feel fulfilled? It doesn't have to be anything like joy or anything like that where you're bouncing around. That's not what we're trying to do. But how do you really want to feel every day? Do you just want to feel at peace? That is so important. And because from that feeling, then everything will flow from there. Okay. And there's also another thing called values, but we won't go into it, this so-called thing. But the main thing is, what do we want? So think about now that, and then now we're going to go into, there's a reason for this. So now I want you to think about all those boundaries that you wrote, which ones you're being crossed at the moment. So is there a pattern in the types of boundaries that are being crossed in the moment? Is there a pattern in that's coming up for you? Like, for instance, there are for me, I kept attracting, before I met my wonderful husband. Now I kept attracting the same sort of guy. Now, why? Same sort of partner, and it was very frustrating. And so I was always wondering, why am I attracting this same person? What is this pattern that's coming up for me? And people would treat me differently, as in sort of, not listen to me and stuff like that. I'm going, why aren't they listening to me? Why are these people keep coming up? For goodness sakes, And so, and times where I, ditch their friendship because they were being pains in the asses. And then realized the next person that came to me did the same thing to me again. It's just like, okay. So those are the sorts of patterns we want to see. Now, we're doing them not from judgment. We're just doing it from an awareness. So everything about boundaries is about awareness. It's setting you free. And so those are the ones. So just think about that. You can stop this at any point and then and journal that down and think about it. Okay. But so I can go on to the next one. So these are the basic human needs at the moment. So put up the picture. So this is what's known. So we've got the physiological needs: safety, love and belonging, self-esteem, and then at the top of there is self-actualization. So the first three are incredibly crucial for all of us. And I'm going to say this, and Tony Robbins has said it, and everyone has said it, but I want you to really put that in your system. You will throw everything out. You will sacrifice everything that you're doing, everything that you want, everything that you have built, personal development, everything. You will throw it out the window in order to get the first three there. Physiological needs, safety and security, love and belonging. Just think about it. And self-esteem and self-actualization to a point, but we're talking the first three. That's pretty scary, isn't it? That we would throw everything out just to get those three. So the question now becomes, what happened? So in order to get these basic needs fulfilled, we try and we have certain patterns of behavior that enforce us trying to get those three things. So let's go back to childhood. And this can go on in many different situations, but childhood's probably a quicker one at the moment. So if you are a child that wanted to be loved, because to be loved means you have security and someone's feeding you, and someone's providing you shelter, you'll do anything to have it, right? So you'll follow what anyone says. So your parents in this case, your carers, society, and you believe that what they tell you, they believe everything that what they tell you. So they reinforce these pattern behaviors like don't speak up, don't be noisy, be a good girl, all that sort of stuff. They will tell you all this because and you do them because when you do them, they reinforce it by giving you what you need. Okay. And so what happens is then oh, this is how I survive. And so as a child, this is how I survive. So you do these behaviors which work because you get what you need. And then as you get older, like how we are all here at the moment, it suddenly doesn't. Because we project all those needs onto someone else. That even if we're capable of giving it to ourselves, we don't understand and don't know how to do it. It's not a judgment, it's just the way it is, because we're not taught. So what happens is it's an entanglement and enmeshment. An entanglement and enmeshment then goes into our relationships as we go on. So you wonder, we're having relationships with love partners and stuff like that. We throw all this out so that they would love us, that we belong, that we want touch. So you gave everything to everyone at the expense of your energy and mental health. You also become what we all term as perfectionists. Everybody loves that word, perfectionists. Perfectionist is actually fear that you are not going to get your needs met. You're not going to be you're not going to be respected. What are people thinking of me? So all of this behind fear is actually trying to get those needs. So is that all making sense? Yeah. So so you abandon yourself and you become resentful and you become and remain in the mental state of victimhood. Someone else has to do this for me. And then you hide under perfectionism and busyness so that people think, oh yeah, you're good. So again, your inner world, whatever you need, all your fears and everything is a manifestation of your external world. So I'm going to come out of this and I'm going to tell you a story. Okay, so my story on this, I can talk all I want, but it's actually really was in fact clearer to me in the last few months. So when I worked on this, I was wondering why I had always pushed away my friends, particularly women. And I get really close to them and I go, ah, and then I'm like, the bitchiness all comes out for me. I mean, I know you don't say it, but it's an internal dialogue. I don't like to, these people really. It's not my thing. But an internal dialogue comes in and then the stories come in. And then I convince myself that that person's not great. And so I find all the excuses and then turf them out of my life, basically, or just, not talk to them anymore. And then I'm going, no, hold on, this is not healthy. What are you doing, Vanessa? Why are you doing this? And I did some breath work and a lot of contemplation and thinking. And then I realized that I have this thing of about abandonment because my mom passed away when I was 13. I keep going back to that. I thought I got over it, but it's obviously nuances that I need to figure out. Anyway, so coming back to me, to my story, sorry. So I realized that I did everything for my mom when she was sick, because she was sick when I was 7. And then after I did everything for her and sacrificed my childhood, she passed away on me. Okay. And that's rejection at the deepest level. You think, oh, I'm gonna help save her, but I don't. I know this is kind of like, no, of course not. You're gonna no, it's not your fault. No, I know that. All that we know. But inside, this inner child feels rejected. She's done everything possible. She's got close to her mom, who was a very hard woman to get close to. And she finally got close to her and she went away. She rejected me by passing away. Now, that's a very subconscious, deep patterning. And because I never resolved that, I projected it onto other people. So I didn't have my boundaries. I didn't have boundaries on myself to really sort of tell myself, hey, Vanessa, what are you doing? And I projected it onto other people. And so my relationship suffered. So that's kind of my little story on what I mean by pattern behaviors that come in. So again, this is something to think about, not to go into trauma, not to blame anybody else, not to shame yourself, but it is an awareness. So, so what has happened when we're not feeling safe, we're constantly looking over our shoulder, right? And so any feelings when your boundaries is crossed is like anger, resentment, and all those sorts of feelings that cause you to your whole body to be in fight or flight mode. And when that happens, you can't relax. So you're always on the go. And you're always trying to do something to get away from that feeling. So we either move towards something or we run away. So we want to run away from this horrible feeling of anger, resentment, and lack of self-worth, pity, all that sort of stuff. We want to run away from it. So our body is in cortisol mode, and that cortisol, when it comes into your body, then it remains there. What happens is that then we can't think straight anymore either. So guess what? Your boundaries are going to get crossed again because you allow it. Your decision making is poor. And then there's this big cycle. And then it goes into your body, and then your body manifests that in inflammation and in all kinds of different things. So, the body holds a lot of stuff in your life, and it's a really good indicator, good communicator to you of when your boundaries are crossed. So as I said before, when someone crosses your boundaries and you feel that emotion coming on, just take a notice on where it feels in your body. Do you feel in your gut? Do you feel in your chest? Do you feel in your head? That's really important because that's your body telling you what you need to know before it goes too far. And then you can take the right steps towards it. So does that make sense? Yeah. So let me just see. Blue, blue, blue. I'm just making sure I don't go on for hours because I can. So that's where self-love comes in, and that's how because what happens is when we're in a fight state, we disconnect because it's painful. It's painful in our body. It's painful when we get rejected. It's painful when someone does something bad to you. And we disconnect because we run away from that pain. And what happens is that we forget what self-love is, because self-love, when we'll go into what self-love is, but we forget what self-love is to ourselves because we're so busy trying to run away that we forget that we actually need to look after our own bodies, to rest and digest and do all the things that's necessary for a healthy body and a healthy mind. So we're going to go into some breath work at the moment. I think I'm doing really well. Yay! So yeah, any questions, any reflections? Love to hear from you. If not, we can go into the breath work. So just let me do a little bit of a thingy. A do-si-do with all this stuff. I tried testing with all the different microphones, and the one that works best is the old one. Everything else is not so good. Yeah, get your jumper. It's just a 5 minute breath work. Just to we've talked about things that are they're pretty serious really in some ways. So let's bring your nervous system down a bit and do that. So I'm gonna plug that in and I'm gonna share document advanced computer audio share. All right, so what we're gonna do is, Christine, could you give me a hand by just letting me know that you can hear me over the music? That would be good. Yeah, so can you hear me over that? Yeah, not too loud, not too soft? Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. You are wonderful. Yay, my helpers. All right. So this is a thing I always teach teach a lot of my clients, is the access system, where it's awareness and then there's a curiosity. So we had awareness of what my boundaries are, what's being crossed. We've been curious as where it came from in your childhood, or where it came from. And then we have compassion because we have those two things already. So compassion is where you accept what it is and you move on with it with love, without judgment. And then this one now, what we're doing is embodiment, which is in terms of, we are processing this information through our body. We're allowing our body to relax. We're giving an opportunity to relax, and then we can use that relaxed state to then think more clearly about how we want to approach someone when a boundary is being crossed, or even talk to even approach ourselves when we cross our own boundaries, when we don't look after ourselves, when we don't self-love. So very important to do that. So let's go into this thing. So I invite you to close your eyes at the moment. You just can sit up. It's not a full breath work. And just breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. Just normally, don't force anything for the moment. What I want to invite you to do is actually just look at your body at the moment. How are you breathing? Is it shallow? Is it deep? And then just notice you're building a muscle of noticing. So next is, I invite you to scan your body and see where needs help at the moment. What is constricting? What's relaxed? What's not? What's neutral? I don't know what you're talking about, Vanessa. No idea. Don't worry. It's all good. Just notice, just give that awareness. Hello, body, I'm talking to you at the moment. Now, what may turn up is your thoughts will jump in and go, blah, 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 blah. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? You should be doing better things. What are you looking at your body for? That's the boundary you want to set now with it in the most loving possible way. I know you're trying to protect me, but I need to do this right now for me. Setting that boundary, practicing it. And now I invite you, I'm going to play this music. Well, it's more of a dings and dongs. It's actually a way to synchronize your breath to your body. So they've shown with a lot of research that this is a fantastic rhythm in which to breathe to. So I'm just sharing that with you. So you have a ding, which you breathe in, and a dong, which you breathe out. You can do either way, doesn't matter. But it just gives you that background. So I'm just going to play the music. Oh. So you've got ding and dong. Breathing in, breathing out. You may struggle with this breath for the first minute or so because your body's not used to breathing this way, but that's okay. Again, kindness and compassion. Setting your boundaries on your self-talk. Am I doing this right? And as you're breathing with this, I invite you to see if you can get your breath deeper into your tummy. Expand your tummy as you breathe. So you might want to put your hand on your tummy and make sure that it's, breathing, it's moving in and out. Now I invite you to bring into your heart or into your mind something that you absolutely adore, you love, your dog, your cat, your children, your space, color, food. Feel that with this feeling of gratitude and love. Again, if it's something that's a little bit alien to you, don't worry. Just keep breathing. Just bring that into your mind. If you can't choose, don't worry about it either. Maybe just love yourself. You as a child, maybe. And then as you do that, let's scan your whole body with that feeling of gratitude and with the breath. So we're bringing awareness. So we're training ourselves. So we'll go into your feet first, and then moving up your legs. When you breathe in, breathe out just in that space. And then in your whole pelvic, perineum area, butt, all that area, just breathing in, breathing out. Feelings of gratitude and love. And then in your whole pelvic region. And then bringing that breath and that awareness and gratitude into your diaphragm and your chest area. Slowly deepening your breath. Thoughts come in, bring it back to the breath. Now in your shoulders and your arms. Notice if your shoulders are all scrunched up towards your ears. Just notice, bringing that breath there. Inviting your body to tell you what it needs, what it wants. And then into your throat area, neck, and now your head. So it's all back of the head, front of the head, mouth, eyes, nose, chin. Inviting anything that needs to come through. So this is kind of like a muscle that you're building, asking yourself what you want. And it's safe. Building that safety, that trust. And if nothing's coming through, it doesn't matter. You're starting to build that safety and that trust. And now slowly coming back to your normal breath through your nose. Unplug. Okay, hopefully we've transitioned to that, to my mic. All good? You listen? Yeah. Oh, that was all right. That's beautiful. Thank you, guys. How did you find that? Oh, yeah, really grounding. Yeah. So it is in this space that you are in right now, is that when you can decide what you really want, how you want it, and what boundaries you're going to set around yourself, and how you treat yourself and how you talk to yourself, and B, how then people would do that, would relate to you. Because from this place, you're coming from a place of knowing, not a place of reacting. So that's really, really key in setting boundaries. People feel that. They feel it. So we're going to go into the slide again. So if you have any comments, let me know. Oops, what's happening here? Screens, there we go. All right, self-love. So what is self-love? Oh, Olivia's got her hand up. Okay. Do you want to unmute and chat, Olivia? Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. All right, let me do that. Oop, stop share. Sorry.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Cool.
Ask, can you give an example when you say setting boundaries on your own? Like, how do you set a boundaries for yourself?
Okay, so what happens is that you find yourself, I'll just do one more thing. Have you had that where I'll rest and then I'll do one more thing? So if what you want in your life is to feel peace and to feel rested or to, that sort of thing, and then you're working away and when you're not in flow, but you're actually doing it because you just don't know how to stop. Like you just, I'll do one more thing, I'll do one more thing. It's like what you do for your kids as well. And then by the time you know it, it's 2 a.m. You haven't had a glass of water at all. And you need to get up at 5 a.m. the next day for some reason. So those are the boundaries that I'm talking about, because it means that you haven't set this boundary of, I need my rest. Okay, and rest is important as part of self-love and self-care. And so you've overstepped that boundary yourself. You're letting that boundary non-existent. Another boundary that you set is when you are another boundary that you set for yourself is that I need to be aware of my self-talk. And then what happens is that you keep hanging out with people that have very bad self-talk, and that and you don't set that boundary around yourself of saying, okay, I need to tell them, I need to sort of look after myself a bit better, and it's these people that I really want to hang out with at the moment, and do I need to speak to them about that boundary? But then that boundaries all start with you. You got to know and you got to set your own boundaries on your own health and your own mental health. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but particularly for people, it's all time and emotional boundaries. So sometimes, like, someone comes to you and they what, you. So the boundary that you set around yourself is also the boundary that you give to that person. But you need to know what you need first. Yeah, so a little bit different.
But would it come to a point where, priority one is yourself, obviously, and what if what you feel that's right for you actually hurts the other person? So how do you manage that, the balance of, it's like, I'm taking care of me first, but the other person feels hurt that you are doing that. You get what I mean? Like,
yep. And that
so
will
then
always,
you kind of like, you have that guilt of wanting to take care of yourself first and trying to protect the other person at the same time. But then you kind of start sacrificing a bit of yourself just to make the other person happy.
Yep.
Yeah. So how do you find that balance of trying to do something that, this is me, I'm important, I need to take care of myself. This is what I need to do. And yet at the same time trying to say, hey, I'm not trying to hurt you, but this is what I need now.
Yep. And people will possibly be hurt by that because they're carrying their own wounds. their own triggers, from them not having their own self-love or their own their own boundaries. It's a tricky one because I can understand that. And it's not black or white. What we're having is a flexible boundaries around, not rigid, not soft, but flexible. So the only way you are going to know how to set those boundaries is if you actually understand what you really want. And often that person, when they you know, children are a little bit different because when they're young, they obviously, you know, they're dependent on you. So that's when your self-love becomes really crucial, and how you talk to them is also very crucial, because you're teaching them what it is to set boundaries through your own examples. But when we talk about an adult here, you know, that you have to talk to about your own boundaries, is when you come from this place of knowing and love, that you'll find it's actually, you'll find in general it's not too bad. They will actually accept that. They will be hurt at first, but it could be that it was something that they needed to work through themselves. And what you're talking about here is the entanglement and the enmeshment of relationships. What relationships should be, as I said, in boundaries, is two people, separate entities, coming together and knowing that they can contribute to each other, but you're not entangled such that, oh, you did this to me, so I'm feeling shit. No, it's actually, I feel shit because I allowed myself to feel shit, you know? And when you're talking about, I feel like I'm hurting them or something like that, that again is a pattern behavior that you have. Like, you don't want to hurt people. Of course you don't want to hurt people, that's right. But then that fear comes in, are they going to reject me? So you got to understand, where is that rejection coming from? So for me, recently a few years ago, I asked for a pay rise, and I set boundaries around that. And first, and I thought, and then they just kind of looked at me and just went, I'm like, oh shit, have I hurt them? Am I gonna lose my job? Oh my God. And then they're like, And then they said, okay, we'll talk next week. I'm like, oh shit, gonna lose my job. Shit. There was so much fear in me. There was huge amounts of fear. And then it came to, no, I know my worth. So I'm having enough courage now to love myself and to give myself the example. And I didn't say I need a raise and throw the tantrum as a child. No, I didn't. I said, well, I know my worth. I know I've contributed to this place in this way. So, you know, I'm asking for me to be recognized in that particular fashion. And I won't work any more hours than you want me to now, because I don't want to. It doesn't work that way. And then the next week they came and they said, oh, what do you want? And I said, what? And I said, well, my values are, because I worked my values are love and faith. So those are my values. Love as in, I didn't say in that way, but my values are that I'm really connected with people, and I really want to serve. And to serve effectively, I need to look after my needs. And so, you know, and I have incredible faith that whatever I do will be able to contribute even more to your company, right? And so they said, okay, what do you want? So I said, okay, I named my price. And then they went, And I went, oh shit, I'm going to lose my job again, damn it. And Rod's like, no, you're right. Just stay your ground, set your boundaries. Okay, fine. But you don't have to go off on a huffy mode. Don't react. So, okay, I did. And then the next week they called me back and said, hey, do you want to come in for a meeting? There it goes. And came in for a meeting. They stood up, they shook my hand and just said, congratulations, you just got your pay rise. And we're promoting you to the next level. That was 3 weeks of hell, by the way. Thank you. 3 weeks of going, oh my God, am I going, why, you know? But I knew, I hurt them initially. I hurt them. They were hurt, but they were hurt because of their ego, their pride, whatever they want. It's their thing. Don't enmesh yourself with their emotions. I know it's easy for me to say, and you can't do this, entangle it in a masterclass, but just that awareness that is, oh, am I saying this? I'm saying this because I want to fulfill some basic need in myself. And that basic need is I want to belong. I want love from that person. And so I don't want to set that boundary because I might lose that person. Now, if you have a true and genuine connection with that person, you're giving that person a framework in order to watch how to treat you. And so it's very freeing because now they know what to do. They don't read your mind. Nobody can read your mind. No one. Absolutely not. So when you say out of love, hey, I really need this at the moment, it's not you, it's me. I really need this. So you know what you want. You know that. So yeah, anyway. Does that make sense, Olivia?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot more nuances to that, but you get, in a quick session. Okay, so oops, what am I doing? Okay, so let's go back to that self-love. I really need a VA. All right. Can we see that? Yep. Okay. Oops. All right. Let's go into self-love. And so what is self-love? How you deeply see, listen, accept, nurture, talk to yourself. Actually, just embrace yourself for who you are as you are. So warts and all, not this perfection. Okay, because we're not meant to be perfect. Because if we were, life would be pretty damn boring. I can tell you that much. But mainly, our purpose in life really is to learn to self-love with grace, kindness, with personal, radical responsibility, and with compassion. Those are key. That's what self-love is. It's not this, let's go off for a massage every 2 weeks. That's great, by the way. Don't. But it is, can you love yourself? Can you accept yourself when you're at your shittiest? That's really what it means. Okay. So people can say anything they want, but that's the thing. So why is self-love important? So there's all this stuff that's going in here. Again, you can see that some of that is your basic human needs. But it does, when you go self-love and you balance your nervous system, there is resilience, that's, feeling an internal safety, there's connection, there's communication, and there's setting of boundaries. Okay, so all of that's really important. So these actually all, if you look at the basic human needs again, that's all there. So self-love covers them. So these are some of the things of what you can do today towards your self-love. So again, determine what your values are and live by them. So when you make your decisions, you base them around your values. So again, as I said, mine are love and faith. So if I come upon crossroads on what I should do, I always ask myself, how do I want to feel? How do I want? I want peace in my life. Number 2, what are my values? Okay, I want to love and connect, and that's my thing, right? So then I said, is this a true connection or is this an entangled connection? So those where I make my decisions. So regular nervous system regulation, as we talked to you, said, and we connected with our bodies today, which was kind of cool. And then these are other things: build presence, self-talk, embrace your vulnerability, your imperfections, everything, your story, triggers, looking after your health, body, gratitude. And this is the one thing we don't do, which is celebrate. Can we celebrate who we are, everything, even turning up for this masterclass, even learning, bringing one little thing back. What is it that I want? Okay, and celebrate that. Yay! We don't celebrate enough. We don't play enough. That's all self-love. So look at children. That's what self-love is, when they get so excited when they take their first step. And then set boundaries. Self-love. Set boundaries on yourself. Set boundaries with others as well. So just thought I'll just give a quick boundary guide. Again, it doesn't cover everything, and it may not fit in certain circumstances, but it's just an awareness. So as I said, I teach my clients the access system, which you've seen in the last slide. But it comes down to this: what am I feeling right now? Where in this body? So your body's whole score, it tells you when your boundary is being crossed, and then you realize what boundary is it. And then it's like, what do I want? What are my values? How can I regulate my nervous system first? The first thing, you're going to go into flight and fight and saying that person is going to leave me, that person will hate me, all these stories that are coming into us. So those stories are our stories, and their stories is their story. So we leave that separate, okay? So what story does this other person have? Not to blame or shame them, but understand where they're coming from. So, in some circumstances, in relationships I've had, the person that was crossed my boundary was almost bullying me at work. Her story was that, she had her parents were divorced, and she had a pretty tough life. And so all her anger and angst came from that. And so the first person she took it out on was the person she saw, which was me, and that was what was the brunt of it. Now, how does that help? That helps me to know that it's not me, number one. And number two, it just has some compassion towards them. Okay. And then you can start to, once you all that, you can start to say, okay, what can I say to this person that what is okay? It's okay that you are feeling angry, but it's not okay that you're taking it out on me at the moment. So as I mentioned before, the quality of your boundaries and how you communicate, reinforce them, is a reflection on your inner world and your ability to self-love. So Olivia asked the question before, how does self-love help? So to just and how do we know how to balance it all? So when you self-love, you choose to go out of victimhood. You own your own experiences and your own story. So, and you start to parent this inner child that needs were not met, or that was so scared or full of fear to when he or she was young. And and by self-love and self-parenting yourself, you begin on your path of true belonging, which is what all of us want, really. And when we do that, it's trusting, and you're starting to believe in yourself at such a deep level, that you show up as your true authentic self, just being your true authentic self, not trying, not doing. And boundaries make that safe for you, but also self-love also contributes to growth in those areas. And in self-love also, it requires vulnerability. Brene Brown talks a lot about that. And when you're vulnerable, you dig deep into your values. You're vulnerable to yourself, because boundaries start with having those boundaries for yourself as well. So you dig deep into your values, and then into connecting with your body, as we said, how do you self-love? And you start balancing your nervous system, and you're creating safety within yourself. So you're starting to trust yourself, and it requires compassion to be okay, and also to be not okay. So as I said before, I have a toolbox with the access system. And if you go back to that slide, there are prompts of how you need to move through different patterns or triggers that may show up in how you set your boundaries. So when you make those choices and you start regulating your nervous system, as you start to reshape your experiences that has been part of your pattern behavior, and you start to build like new neural networks within your brain. So you start to achieve like harmony and synchrony with all the incredible parts of you, of your brain and mind that have been silenced for so long. And you start to allow your body to produce those nice chemicals like dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin, that allow you to feel good, to feel love, and to have courage. You understand that, you start to understand when these chemicals are in your body and you're balanced out in the system. You understand that fear is the driver of lack of boundaries. It's the driver of a lot of things. And it's just an emotion. It doesn't define you. So you start to communicate better with yourself, and consistently and clearly. And that extends to how you communicate with others in the end. So there's no blame or shame, just a deep knowing. So that's why when we had that little cheat sheet on what to do when boundaries are being crossed. Once there's this deep knowing, and you're not blaming or shaming anyone, then people just know, they get that vibe from you. So when you do say that, how you present yourself is completely different, as I said before. So we talked about how do we communicate a boundary. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper into that. And is this a statement from Brene Brown when she writes in a book, Atlas of the Human Heart. So it says it starts with "it is okay," and then after that it goes with "but it's not okay." So this is what goes. It is okay that you feel this. So this is how you speak to someone. It is okay you feel this way or are doing this, but it's not okay if you do it to me or do it in that way. So let me give you an example. It is okay to change your mind, but it's not okay to assume that it's okay with me without discussing it first. So you're having those boundaries, and also, saying putting the positive bit in the front, so that comes out more from love, but also from a sense of fierce grace and strength. So people will feel that, and yes, they may or may not be hurt, who knows, but as long as you understand that that's where you stand and be comfortable with that. And of course, when you self-love, there is a certain amount of knowledge and knowing that this is where you're coming from. This is where your boundaries, when you communicate those boundaries, they become clearer. And also you communicate them better because you're clearer as well. So what could you start to say to someone to set your boundaries based on, what you wrote on before? What could you say to them? Just think about that for a sec. So you could just stop this video right now and say, what could you say to them that it's okay to do a certain thing, but it's not okay for you? So what do you need to do for self-love for yourself first, to balance your nervous system, to figure out what you truly need? What comes to you right at this moment? Or does it come out blank? Or you have nowhere to start. You don't even know what your values are. You haven't worked on it, or what you truly want, or how even to balance your nervous system. So do you feel like you're stuck at even to know where to begin this journey of self-love? Perhaps you're looking for something that's easy to understand, and that has been tried and tested by so many women that have been through the same experiences as you, and now trust themselves enough to set boundaries around, firstly, their self-care and their self-talk, but also with others around them. So they are now attracting a life that they've always wanted, without the burnout, without the overwhelm and exhaustion. And so this is why I'm relaunching this short course that I recorded at a time where I just needed to, distill all this information into a really easy format for people and for friends to help heal themselves, to help move themselves forward. And it's called Discover Your Feminine Flow: From Stuckness to a Healthy Life of Energy, Peace, and Joy. I should share that with you. So this is the course that I've written and also filmed. So it's in many different my face here. So it's got many little modules that are about 15 to 30 minutes long, so not very long. And so you can just listen to them, and it's made up of different sections, which I'll just talk to you about. So the first one is unraveling in body awareness. So these are some of the modules here. So I'm unraveling body awareness, and gratitude, and tapping into your desires. So this is where you start working with, unraveling what's tangled within you. And then the next one is the allowing. So changing your physiology through breathwork. Like this is what we did earlier on. And so I bring you through many different types of breath work, and it's very cool because some of them you can do on the go, and some of them you are a little bit deeper, so you can do that at home as part of balancing your nervous system up. And then the next one is building. So the use of words and sound, like music, movement. So more nervous system regulation, more nervous system balancing tools, and also how you use language in your life, how you change your perceptions and your emotions through sounds and through words. The next is focus. So learning how to be more present, be more forgiving of yourself, and also focus on how can you manifest your dream life when you start accessing that flow within you. So, and module 5 is yes. So it's boundaries. So how you lovingly work through them. So there's a special module on that. There's some boundaries. And then in when you're going from stuckness to flow, it's the enjoyment. So it's all really well and good to have all these little bits and pieces, but how do we put all these learnings together? How do we identify what works and what doesn't work? How do we deeply listen to the people around us, to ourselves, to our body? So just making work. So this is kind of the process that I've gone through in my life as well. So, and it is something that I want to share with you. It's come from many different modalities, many different many hours of personal development work from all kinds of different teachers, and just distill into one simple thing that will help move you forward. And so these are some of the investments that is part of it. So if you're wondering how much does it cost, so the first investment is just the course alone. So it's an online course, and it's on demand. So it's on YouTube on a special channel, and you will get it get that workbook and several meditations and breath work that is part of the course. So that is option 1, and it's US dollars 99. It used to be much more expensive than that, but I thought, no, in this time we all need some help at the moment, so I brought that price down significantly. It's more like 70% off or something. Anyway, so that's the course that I have brought out to really help you through that, through getting into from your stuckness into your flow. And and the next one is, if you've bought courses before, right, and you've never completed them, or you've completed them and you've had a bit of a breakthrough, and then after that you're kind of like, maybe not, and you kind of, yeah, I guess, you kind of lose your way in the middle. So it's because you're probably needing someone to be accountable to, so to help you through the process of, because these processes are uncomfortable. So, and you might need someone also to do more personalized touch, because you feel that there's part of you that is, quite a bit different and not being met in a course, because sometimes these courses are for general, so all of us are special, we have unique blueprints, and your situation may be a little bit more complex. So I'm also offering, as an option 2, is 2 one-on-one coaching calls with me, so private additional sessions as an option. So this has been incredibly invaluable to those who have taken it up. It's just kind of made their trajectory in terms of understanding who they are, where they are coming from, and what they need in their life, with a lot of ease and flow. And also, when in these coaching calls too, I'm bringing in what we call human design and the gene key. So I'm marrying that, and each of those modules that you talked about, I will be looking deep into your energetic blueprint on what is the framework you could even frame yourself through these incredible tools that I've been learning. They've been such an eye-opener for me, and they've really directed my path towards a life that I want to create. So this is a very personalized thing, and I think it's something that some of us will probably need. If you take this option, you'll look at the investment is $333 US, and it is it's just it's just such a joy to see, you know, the light in people's faces as they get into those aha moments, as I help them to move through their processes of from stuckness to flow. Just that incredible thing. So, you know, what are some of the reviews that we've had here? This is Olivia, and you know, I touched base with her 8 months after she did this program, and she actually did the coaching with me as well. And you know, her life's changed. So she's manifested a wonderful, loving relationship with someone who's aligned. And yeah, he's awesome. And self-love was a major part of it. So there you go. So she's manifested in you know, a new life at the moment. And at the time when we talked about it, it was a new job and a new career, which was really awesome. So she's more calm and at peace with who I am and where she is. And she's learned to be good and gentle with herself, more patient with her children. So I was talking about that communication, and also that sort of whole balance in the system, brought them closer, and it feeds into their energy as well. So even so when you do this personal work, it really flows on to other people, and so do your boundaries. They flow on to other people. But if there's a fear in your boundary, setting a boundary, then you know, what is it that you yourself fear? So, and that will spill out to other people. Okay, so the next one is Catherine, and she, when I was working with her, she really was quite stuck um, and she just didn't know quite how to release that. And as she went through the course and she talked to me about that, she yeah, she just, because I work with a lot of intuition as well, so I just had quite a lot of feedback from her, from my guides and as I coach. And it's just she knew she had to do this course, and it provided her with, you know, more inspiration to live her life with love and acceptance of you know, wherever she is at the moment. So respecting who she is, who she is. So and I help her see that, and it was exactly what she needed. So there was she just felt valued, understood, encouraged, and held, which is always my intention. So I'm, you know, not this Tony Robbins sort of speaker coach thing, and I'm not perfect with how I do any of these things, but I come in with much love and genuine care, and that comes through with for a lot of my clients, and also in through my course. So I caught up with her recently, and she's now lost quite a lot of weight. She had diabetes, and she beat that. That was, now she's doing really well. And also she's also up leveled her business. So she's added a new modality into her business, which is really, really fun to see. So we go back to that. And there's a few more clients, but I won't put that in. If you need more, I can send you more reviews. So how do you sign up? There's a QR code there, and there's a link there. So have a look at the landing page. It's basically what I've just said in this masterclass. So, you know, the big thing I want to bring back to you is that take all you can from this masterclass, because it does have a few gems, and there's some parts which I've read because they were also channeled information, and also I went off in a bit of a thing too, because that was also channeled information. So this masterclass was really tough for me to actually so we'll stop there. So this masterclass was actually quite challenging for me to do, because I had to work through, you know, what was I going to say to everyone around boundaries, because it's really tough. So take away all the little bits and pieces that I've said, what resonates and what doesn't resonate. The course is there for you. it is there for you because I know it sounds corny, but it's there for you because it was something that I felt I had to bring to you to the world, but also bring to you so that I could condense everything into something that was easy for you to take and then launch off into other things that will help you develop if you're ready for it. And also the coaching is there simply because I just feel that, you know, just a mixture of the two is really, really powerful, and it helps people to integrate a lot more, a lot quicker, and sound out ideas with someone. Or sometimes you just need to share. Sometimes you just need accountability just to do some of the exercises in the course, which have been invaluable for me too. Some of them are pretty interesting. So if if this really resonates with you, go to the QR code and to the link. And if you have any questions about how the course is run and whether it's suitable for you or not, just send me an email, and we will make a time together and have a chat, or just head to the landing page and there's an option to book a time with me on a link. So thank you for joining me for the Boundaries and Self-Love Masterclass today. It's truly been a pleasure with the women who've turned up, and also with all of you that will be watching this in the future. I know there's a lot of you who are and are going to. So thank you so much. If you found this valuable, if you could just share this with someone that might need this at this point in time, please do, because it's the only way we can get the message out, and to start creating a better world, you know. And part of that is if we care for each other in those ways. So thank you so much. Is there any other questions that people would like to ask? No, pretty good. Yep. All right, great. So thank you everyone again for joining us in the Boundaries Masterclass. So much love to you in watching this replay. Leave some comments, email me if you feel I've missed something out. I tried to make it short as possible. And yeah, I would love your reflections on this. So bless you and namaste.